even if national figures show that those who had side effects don't even amount to 1% of the total vaccinated population. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro with a report.
Every day, Baltazar Palaño rolls the dice, hoping to win against COVID-19. As a tricycle driver in Manila, he deals with dozens of passengers every day. Yet he has delayed getting vaccinated because of fears over side effects.
Kasi alam ko sa sarili ko may sakit ako sa puso.
Palaño is one of the millions of Filipinos that the Department of Health hopes to convince to take part in government's massive inoculation drive next week. According to the latest Social Weather Station survey, 6 out of 10 Filipinos are willing to get the jab, while the remaining 4 are either unwilling or uncertain. One of the most common reasons why some are hesitant of the jab is because of some reported adverse events following immunization. According to the Food and Drug Administration, out of the 75 million who received the jab, 76,000 or only 0.1% experienced non-serious adverse events, such as headaches, fevers, and body pains. While serious adverse events such as hospitalization, birth defects, and life-threatening reactions are only 3,800 or 0.005%. Even with that, the World Health Organization says that not all adverse events are linked to the vaccine.
It does not necessarily have a causal relationship with what has been administered, and many are actually coincidental.
FDA Director Eric Domingo also reiterates that there has been no reported deaths due to the vaccine in the country.
So whatever adverse event might be related to a vaccine is definitely much less than the number of people getting sick and dying from COVID-19.
The government will soon hold the National Vaccination Day from November 29 to December 1 to inoculate about 15 million individuals in just 3 days. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro, we are One News.
Former presidential advisor Michael Yang wants the Supreme Court to nullify 2 Senate arrest orders and the immigration lookout bulletin order against him. Yang's lawyer, Raymond Fortun, filed the petition on his behalf. He is accusing the Senate of acting with grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction. He is also alleging that the Senate of practicing unrightful judging resource persons as lying at the slightest hint of inconsistency. Yang is one of the key persons in the multi-billion peso Farmally scandal.
And it is only the Supreme Court that can address yung grievances na isang tao. Wala pong tinatago si Mr. Yang. Pero hindi ibig sabihin no, na kung wala kang tinatago, ay ilalahad mo na lahat.
Finance Secretary Sari Dominguez says the economy will be fully reopened by early next year as COVID-19 cases decline. Pamela Vasquez wraps up the Business World Economic Forum 2021.
Finance Secretary Sani Dominguez opened Day 2 of the Business World Virtual Economic Forum, highlighting the Philippines' strong financial position. Dominguez says the economy will likely hit the high end of the government's 4 to 5% GDP target for the year.
We expect to do even better in the fourth quarter as we continue to relax mobility restrictions. We will continue easing restrictions as infection rates continue their steep decline. With current trends, we expect to achieve the full reopening of the economy by the onset of the new year. We are ready for a strong recovery.
Meanwhile, the CEO's panel underscored the Philippines' great leap forward in digitization.
The Philippines has seen 12 million new digital consumers since the start of the pandemic, of which 63% are from outside the metropolis, and 95% of pandemic consumers are still consumers today.
But cybersecurity and verifying user identities remain key problems, which PayMaya Philippines Chief Strategy Officer Paulo Azola said could be solved by the national ID.
Other people are using other documentation that is more easy to forge. So definitely the proliferation of the national ID, I think, is a massive development for financial services.
Meanwhile, DTI Undersecretary Rafaelita Aldaba announced that the agency is launching a number of programs for startups, including a venture capital fund.
Together with venture capitalists and other co-investment partners. An initial amount for this year of 250 million pesos has been allocated for this matching investment program. And for next year, another 250 million pesos has also been allotted.
The two-day virtual forum was organized by Business World and gathered more than 40 local and international experts to talk about the country's roadmap to recovery. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
After a long wait, the much-awaited IKEA store in Pasay City is now open. A look into the biggest IKEA store in the world in Gerard de la Peña's report.
After 8 years of preparations, followed by delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the first IKEA store in the country has officially opened its doors to customers.
That moment when 3,000 people had to leave construction site last year, and then they couldn't come back for 6 weeks. That was a dramatic moment for all of us. And if you prepare a store opening like this, and you know you need to recruit 600 people, you need to train them, you need to prepare them.
With 68,000 square meters of retail space, the Philippine store is the brand's biggest in the world.
The size is mainly driven by logistic needs. We have a promise to our customers which is called instant gratification. So basically everything what you see in this store you could take home the same day.
The goods were said to be carefully curated to appeal to the tastes of the Filipino consumer. Ideas were also called from IKEA's visits to about 800 Filipino homes.
One of the key distinguishing features of this IKEA store here in the Philippines compared to the others abroad is the touch of Filipino, especially in this installation. So here, they made use of these lace curtains, which are very appropriate for our humid weather. And also, they suggested the use of these shelves because they said Filipinos love to collect many things, and this can be a good display cabinet.
For some of the store's first customers, the long wait was worth it.
We woke up early for this one. It's always been an IKEA hopping internationally when we do travel. So we've been all over, not really all of the IKEA branches, but then we make sure that when we travel Europe, Asia, we do go to IKEA talaga.
The management is expecting more customers to come as the holiday season approaches. Currently, the facility can only accommodate 4,000 customers at a time, hence the need to register online before coming to the store. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, We Are One News.
Time for another quick break. When we return, jeepney drivers finally get their hands on a promised fuel subsidy, but some were confused over what to do with it. Prayers are needed for Terra Firma cager Royder Cabrera, who is still under intensive care after collapsing at the end of a 3x3 game. And an enforcer in Quezon City takes to heart the saying that no one is above the law, even if it means apprehending their very own mayor. The details after the break.
Good evening. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. Jeepney drivers will finally get 1 billion peso worth of subsidies as the LTFRB launched its Pantawid Pasada program.
But the LTFRB says this must only be spent on fuel lest they be disqualified from the program. Jenny Dongon has the story.
Mang Jun and his fellow jeepney drivers at this Mandaluyong terminal can finally breathe a sigh of relief. After weeks of scrambling for cash to pay for gas, they finally received 7,200 pesos worth of fuel subsidy from the Pantawid Pasada program.
Binigay lang po sa akin ng operator, bahala na daw po ako sa magkrudo.
Yung resibo ipunin, gano'n?
Opo.
Saan to ibibigay yung resibo?
Titignan po ng operator kung naikakarga ko nga po.
The LTFRB are also coordinating with Land Bank to fast-track the release of the remaining PPP cards to qualified jeepney drivers. But the Bureau reminded beneficiaries to only use the cash assistance for fuel purposes. The LTFRB had a strict warning. Cash loaded on the PPP card should not be withdrawn via ATM. Violation might mean disqualification from the program.
Makikita ho sa transaction history po ng kanilang mga accounts kung ito po ay nagamit sa krudo or sa ibang bagay po. Kung meron ho kaming makita, syempre po ipatatawag natin ng mga operator, makaka-apekto rin ho ito sa mga subsequent po sanang fuel subsidy program po ng ating gobyerno.
For one transport group, the PPP cards should have been directly handed to drivers instead of operators. But nonetheless, they see the move as nothing but a band-aid solution.
Ang galawin na ng gobyerno dito ay repekisahin na yung 12% ibat ka lang yung old regulation law, saka yung train law, saka yung safe tax.
9 oil companies have partnered with government for the fuel subsidy program. Out of the 885,000 active PPP card holders, 78,000 already received the subsidy. The recent string of hikes in pump prices prompted the Development Budget Coordination Committee to allot a 1 billion peso fuel subsidy for jeepney drivers. While oil prices have been going down the past weeks, rates are still far from the 40 to 50 peso range. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
In world news, a migrant boat sank in the English Channel, killing at least 31 in what is now considered as the worst ever migrant tragedy. The rubber dinghy, boat packed with 40 people, capsized as it tried to reach the United Kingdom. Most of the passengers drowned in frigid waters. Around 20 were rescued. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson and French President Emmanuel Macron agreed to step up efforts to prevent such incidents in the future. And in New York, for the first time since the onset of the pandemic, giant balloons were once again inflated ahead of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The balloons will feature characters like Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian, Son Goku from Dragon Ball, and Snoopy. Only fully vaxxed individuals will be allowed in the parade route. Authorities are expecting 3.5 million spectators.
Now for the big story in sports, Terra Firma's Royder Cabrera remains under observation at the hospital a day after collapsing at the end of 2 matches in the PBA 3x3 tournament. In a statement released by Cabrera's family earlier today, the Cager has been transferred to the ICU. Cabrera was reportedly able to open his eyes, but the next 24 hours will still be critical for his recovery. Team Governor Bobby Rosales said Terra Firma is giving its all-out support to Cabrera. The PBA, meanwhile, echoed Terra Firma's appeal, urging fans to continue praying for the forward's recovery. And the F2 Logistics cargo movers complete their season sweep after taking down Cherry Tiggo Crossovers to take home the PNVF Champions League title. The cargo movers, who last saw action in March 2020, did not drop a single set in the entire tournament, finishing with 15 points off a perfect 5-0 record. The Crossovers, led by Dindin Santiago Manabat, put up a good fight in the third set, but attacking errors late in the match gave F2 the opening before Calais Mao nailed the title-clinching hit. Kim Kiana D took home the finals MVP award as well as the Best Opposite Spiker award.
And as they say, no one is above the law.
Quezon City just sanctioned its very own Mayor Joy Belmonte for not wearing a helmet during a bike event. QC's Department of Public Order and Safety fined her 300 pesos as first offense. Belmonte said she gave her helmet to a biker who had none. Another participant was also ticketed for 500 pesos.
The Quezon City Mayor commended the DPOS for strictly implementing their executive order. Belmonte, of course, is seeking a second term in 2022 as Mayor of Quezon City.
Okay, ano, talagang bawal talaga sa Quezon City ang walang helmet. At alam ko nga, hindi kasi nagkasya yung helmet sa kanya, kaya binigay niya sa iba.
Oo, tsaka pwede ka naman magkamali. Wala namang masama sa magkamali. Pero ang mahalaga doon, pagka nagkamali ka, mananagot ka rin. No one, as we said at the start, no one's above the law. That's a mark of a leader as well.
That's good. Leading by example. Well, partner, 30 days na lang, Pasko na.
30 days. On cue.
Tuloy pa rin po ang Pasko, mga kapatid. And that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250.
Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Mask on.
Wash hands.
And stay safe, Philippines. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Hall. We are One News. Have a good evening.